So it was a nice day, and I was enjoying taking the Silver GT to a meeting. And then I thought I'd really like to take my red Terminator Cobra out for a drive. And so I ended up driving to a restaurant and enjoying parking here in this spot that's a little secluded. It's farther across the parking lot. Nobody really parks here. You have the interstate nearby too. I thought it'd be cool if you're going down the interstate and you look over and see a 10th anniversary Cobra parked down here. So if somebody saw that, that'd be cool if they knew what they were looking at. But it was a really nice restaurant, and I just wanted to go eat. It was kind of an early lunch kind of a thing, and not very many people were there. And it was just fun to take the Cobra and see it there. So walking out to the car is always fun. I love seeing it there in the parking lot, and it was safe, and it was alone over here, and it looked great. And so I can definitely say I'm out enjoying my Cobra on a beautiful day. And just on a nice chill day like this, it's fun to have the car out. With how special this car is, sometimes I worry about taking it out in traffic like this with all of these drivers who might not be so aware, and somebody could plow into this thing. But you got to drive the car and enjoy it, otherwise it's just going to sit all the time. So sometimes you can avoid congested areas and go drive on nicer roads where no one's around, but I like to take it around town and have fun. So I wanted to go get some ice cream, so we went somewhere else. That log cabin there was a black '03 Cobra for sale here once, a convertible. It's in Australia now, or New Zealand. I was telling my sons about the time that there was a black '03 convertible Cobra for sale on this dealership lot. Now, there were two lots, and it was for sale at another lot, and then it was over here. And I actually test drove that Cobra. It's the first Terminator I ever drove. And I remember I came back to this lot and I was looking for the Cobra, and I asked the salesman where it was, and he said, "Oh man, that car went overseas. It's gone." And so somebody had gotten the car, and years later they contacted my brother and they told him that they had a black convertible Cobra. They got to talking, and sure enough, the guy had a picture of the dealership, and it was the same place. It was the same city, and it was really fun to meet the new owner and let him know, just, online we met, and tell him that I had driven his Cobra before, and my brother as well. So that was really kind of a cool experience, and it was fun to meet up with them. Now, the car went to either Australia or New Zealand. I always get those two confused, but that's where it went. So we took the Cobra around, went to a couple more stores, parked where I thought it would be safe, did some shopping, got some stuff to make Muddy Buddies with. And while we were there, I thought, well, let's go ahead and look for some Hot Wheels cars while we're in the area and do some more treasure hunting. And so I went into the store with my boys, and we came out with a Ford GT and a couple of Hot Wheels, a Shelby Daytona and a DeLorean. And it was just nice to walk out to the Cobra here. And then I saw this blue Mach One. That's the Mach One that I have shown on the channel before. It's the first blue Mach One I ever saw and ever sat in. It only had 2,000 miles on it back then. Now it has over 65,000. It's in pretty good shape now. I think the engine's been rebuilt on it from what I remember, from what I've been told. The license plate says, "I mock you." So that's the IAT2, or the intake air temperature 2 sensor. The first sensor is on the intake of the car, like the air intake. The second one is below the supercharger. It reads how hot the air is that's going into the intercooler system, into the lower manifold. So usually you want it to be, in the low hundreds. After a hard pull, sometimes it can get up to the 130s, 140s, or whatever. If the car sits and heat soaks, it can get up to 160 or whatever. But I like to see it in the low hundreds. That's a really good place for it. And so that's the lower number there, the 95 charge temp, or the charged air temp, the boosted air. That's, how hot it is. Usually driving around in summer, spring, hotter months, it's over 100. But I like to see it when it's under 100. I feel like the car is breathing cooler air, less chance of detonation and problems like that. So it's good. It also lets you know the intercooler pump's working, because it would be getting pretty hot if it wasn't for that. And of course, above that is the coolant temperature, which is good at 186. That's running nice and cool, so I know there's no air bubbles in the system or anything like that. And so we ended up out here at a new store with a brand new parking lot, and this is the overflow parking area where nobody usually parks, and it's next to a 55 and older community, so really chill and quiet out this way. And it's the area where I used to go with my friend to wash and wax the company cars for that 55 and older community. So it was nice to bring the Cobra out here, because back when I was doing all that and working 2 jobs, I didn't have a lot of time to drive the Cobra. So it's nice to have the car out and be enjoying it. It's kind of the other side of the coin. So came out here, did some shopping in the new big shopping center, got some snacks and donuts and things, and just enjoyed having the car out and just chilling and looking at Hot Wheels with my boys. Let's hear this supercharger scream. So my oldest son had a choir performance here at the high school, and I took the yellow Mach One. It was a good opportunity to get it out. Beautiful sunset. It was just fantastic. I've had good luck with this zinc yellow Mach One and nice sunsets. I have some really cool pictures of it, and I thought this would be a great time just to take some footage of it here with that gorgeous sunset. It was absolutely wonderful and breathtaking. And so it was a great time. The car looked fantastic. Very proud to have this car. Very happy to see it here. It looked so good with this contrast of the sky and everything. Just an awesome dream car. You know, I love this Mach 1. So we took the car here and I parked in the corner of the parking lot where nobody would be around, and we were leaving the show that night, and there's a young kid in a 3 Series BMW with loud exhaust came in. He was revving it up and ripping around the parking lot, and I thought I had to teach that boy a lesson. And so this is the kid's car, and he often parks by my brother's house, and so we know the car. You know, he's always ripping around the neighborhood and, you know, being aggressive with it. You know, I guess we all do that a little bit, but I was like, man, I want to whip on that guy. And so we left the parking lot, and he went right, I went left, and we both kind of took off kind of hard in opposite directions. And next thing I know, he's right on my back bumper. He had done a U-turn, and he came up on the back of the Mach 1. And so I put it down in second and got next to him, and I gave him a whooping. And he's a turbo car too. And so we did it 2 or 3 times, and I just kept beating up on him, and he drove off. But pay attention to this car because it comes up again here with my red Cobra. So we ended up going somewhere to eat and had a good time, you know, to celebrate the concert and to celebrate whooping on that BMW turbo car. And it was nice to see the Mach 1 here. It looks so good with the dark tint and everything. Just a beautiful looking, bright car, and the evening light, you know, so really awesome car. I love walking out to it. It's just, the variety is so cool. You go from the Cobra, the GT, the Mach 1, just have all the different cars to enjoy. So I took it out and went looking for some Hot Wheels and doing some treasure hunting and having some fun with it. And I just enjoyed driving it around and having an excuse just to go somewhere in it, you know, go look for Hot Wheels, and, you know, enjoyed, you know, just driving around, because I don't daily drive this car anymore. I used to daily drive it, but I don't daily drive it anymore because I have the GTs. Went past the temple, just love the temple. It was good to do a little detour and pass the house of the Lord and have some peace in my heart. Cruising around town, I saw a couple Mustangs I had to show. Here's a 94-95 GT laser red, just sitting here. I wonder how long it's been there. And here's another silver GT, and I knew that car before. And it has 99 to 01 side scoops, but a 01 to 04 hood scoop, so interesting. It has an 01 to 04 spoiler too, so that could mean that the side was hit, and that's why it has V6 side scoops on it. I saw this car on a car lot when it was for sale, and so I know the car, and the guy was changing the tire on it. It looked like a construction worker who was helping build this building here, and he waved at me when I went by. I remember seeing this car when it was for sale on the lot. I remember when it sold, and I remember driving from northern Utah back down to southern Utah one time, and he was ahead of me, and I enjoyed watching it. I actually saw him at a gas station getting gas at the same time, and it started up and it sounded really good, so I kept pace behind it just to enjoy following a nice sounding GT for the rest of my drive home. So I knew the car. I remember seeing where it would park and a different part of town, and so it's kind of interesting to come across it again. But it's a very distinct car with the V6 side scoops on a 01 to 03 GT. It doesn't have a 40th badge like mine, so you know it's a 01 to 03, judging by the scoops and spoiler and everything. And I think I remember seeing that it was an 01 when I was at the dealership. I'm trying to remember. So I did some more treasure hunting at the Walmart near the house I grew up at. Just fun to go to this side of town. Just love driving the Mach 1 around and having fun like that. And I went and picked up my boys at a party thing that they were at. And then I got one of these. This came in the mail. This is a 40th anniversary emblem. You can see it there on the right. It would go on the shifter bezel of a true 40th anniversary Mustang V6 or GT. And I just wanted to get one of these. I had actually bought a whole bezel before just to get this badge, and I put it on my red 04 Mach 1's honeycomb deck lid panel. I miss that car.
let that badge go with the car when I sold it because I thought the new owner would appreciate it. I don't think they cared. It was like a $100 badge, and I spent $150 for this one on eBay. Only this one's a new old stock one, so it's brand new. It's never been used, and so I just thought it'd be something good to grab because they're discontinued. You can't find them anymore. So I took the yellow Mach One, and I met my wife with the silver GT, and we went to another performance. It was actually a dance performance that she had at the high school, same place where the choir concert was. So it's just fun to come here and, you know, see the Mustangs parked out here together. It's really cool. And from up above in one of the classrooms, you could see the cars. I think that's fun. So I went up there and just hung out before the event started where I could see it. I was recording people parked next to it. There's a beautiful light baby blue Porsche that parked next to it. You can see it turning in there. And then they backed up and parked across. And so I'm just protective of the cars, and I want to go make sure nobody dings them or beats up on them. And even though we parked pretty far back, a lot of people parked there. So, you know, so I'm watching this person back in. And, you know, if you're watching them from here and they're backing in and all of a sudden they stop real quick and then they pull away, then, you know, there's a chance that maybe you just saw them hit the car and then they go park somewhere else. So, you know, I'm just protective of the cars, and I just enjoy seeing the car from up here. It's pretty cool. So it was just, we were waiting for the show to start anyway, so I thought I might as well watch and see how many people get close to backing into it. And, you know, people would maneuver around it. I was surprised how many people actually parked next to it and then went somewhere else, and then parked next to it and went somewhere else. But anyway, I just made sure to watch the car. Like this guy here parks next to it, straightens out a little bit, then backs up again next to it. So for the most part, people are, you know, pretty good. But I found a couple door dings on the silver GT that weren't there before. So people do, you know, mess things up. Now, I went treasure hunting and I found another treasure hunt, and that was really fun. I got really excited to keep doing that. I took the silver GT and I would just go on the way home from work and stuff and pop into stores, and, you know, just love the GT with bullet wheels. So it's fun. This is a basic treasure hunt, so it's not a super, it's not worth a whole lot, but it's fun to find. It has the little thing here that says congratulations. The symbol means you just found a collectible treasure hunt. So my brother-in-law flies F-15s, and he had a couple of friends who were flying through town doing a practice approach at the airport behind our house. And so he asked if we'd be around and like to see that. And I said, yeah, we live real close. So we drove up here by the airport where we could see these F-15s come in and do a practice approach. It was awesome. Beautiful day for it too. So here they come. So that was awesome to see. And then it's awesome to walk back up to the silver GT, looking great in the sun. You know, the camera kind of blurs it out a little bit, but the shine looks so good in the sun on this metallic silver. So I swapped O2 sensors off the front of my Terminator Cobra for another set off the Mach One, because the Cobra has just this light little cough at idle, and, you know, it has new injectors, new fuel system, new supercharger, new tune. Like everything is different except for the injectors. I thought maybe that would make a difference. New spark plugs, new ignition coils, new slot style mass airflow sensor. But the car has always had it since I bought it, and when I bought it, it had, you know, a different supercharger, different injectors, different everything on it, fuel system, all that stuff. So I'm kind of puzzled why it keeps doing it. Now, some say that the 80-pound injectors make it do that. You know, some people think that it can be, you know, a variety of things. And so, you know, it still runs perfect and it's smooth driving. It's just at idle, it has that weird little cough. But the compression test came back perfect on it when I did it, when I bought the car. Everything's fine on the car. I even have heard that it might even be just the way the X-pipe is, and, you know, stuff like that can make it do that. But I was just thinking, well, the yellow Mach 1 idles perfectly smooth, doesn't have anything like that going on, and maybe it's the O2 sensors, because that's literally the only thing I've never changed on the red Cobra, and so I swapped it over. It doesn't seem like it made any difference. I know you can just chase your tail and go crazy trying to figure out little things like that that really don't matter. It's just something that I'm just curious about, so I just thought I'd change that stuff out. Now, there is an DPFE sensor I might look into. That's like, you know, for the EGR system, so maybe that's doing it. I don't know. So I'll test drive it and see if it makes any difference. You know, it might even be in the tune. I don't know. But, you know, we'll go drive around and see if we can hear it again, because it only happens like at idle when the car is warm. You can hear it here a little bit. Maybe I'm just paranoid. I think that's just the way the car is, because nothing changes and it has all new parts and it runs perfect driving around. It's just kind of a weird little cough at idle. Could be the exhaust system. It could be a lot of things, just the way the exhaust comes out. With a ditch to fall into. But yeah, beautiful Cobra. So it's time to put the O2 sensors back in the yellow Mach One, and it ran just fine after. So we took the yellow Mach One to the dealership and looked at new trucks for my younger brother, who wanted to buy a new GMC truck. And so Mach One looked fantastic there. We took it around to the different dealerships and looked around, and man, I just love this car. So I played around with that C4 Corvette with the Mach 1. Went to do some more treasure hunting and went to a few stores, and I found this Viper here parked in the corner. So I thought, okay, I'll park next to him, and you can see the windows are down. And I mean, some Vipers might not even have like windows that roll up and down. I can't remember on that first generation if you pull them up or something, but looked beautiful. Very nice low mile car. You know, I just decided I'd park next to him so no one else dings his doors. And you know, this is in very nice shape. You can just see not even any swirl marks on it. And then when I came back out, it was gone. My wife was teasing me and ran with a shopping cart to block the view of the GT on my camera because she's just teasing me, wanted to photobomb it. So here's a same spot that we came in the Cobra earlier, kind of a weird drop off there. You know, somebody might fall down in there. Hopefully that gets filled in pretty soon. Yellow Mach 1 looking great. You know, there's a nice Raptor here too. And so same parking lot, just a different day with the yellow Mach 1. And speaking of Mach 1s, I thought I'd share a little bit about this blue Mach 1 I came across on the Facebook pages. This is an Azure Blue 03 Mach 1, and somebody had swapped in a 2-valve GT engine with a Roush supercharger. So it might have been out of a Roush. Somebody thought maybe it was special and put it in a car that needed it, but that was very interesting. The owner got a lot of flack for that. They said they probably don't have much more power than the Mach 1 did anyway, and why would you ever swap a 2-valve in where a 4-valve was? And I'm sure there was a circumstance and a reason for it, but something you don't see every day. So I continued treasure hunting with the GT, and I found another super treasure hunt. Now this was very unique because this is on the front aisle by the checkout stand. I had gone to the back where they had, you know, all the normal Hot Wheels displayed, and they even had cases of Hot Wheels, and I opened up a case that was just being stocked, and there was no super treasure hunt in it. And then as I was walking out the store, I thought maybe, just maybe, they restocked the ones by the cash register, and sure enough, there it was, a beautiful super treasure hunt. So I have 2 of these now, and it was so exciting to get this. Treasure hunting's fun because a lot of times you go home empty-handed, but when you do find them, it makes it even more better. So my younger brother did buy a brand new GMC truck, beautiful AT4, and while we were at the dealership, I went with him. You know, I gave him a ride to the dealer and stuff, and we looked at this black Trans Am, and this car has been here at this dealership since 2002, and you can see the paint's fading on it, and either the salesman or somebody who knows the owner of the dealer, whoever it is, they drive it to the dealer all the time. So it's always here, and it has dealer plates on it, but you can see the paint's fading on it and stuff, but pretty sweet to see. So I found 2 more treasure hunts. I couldn't believe it. They were just right on the pegs, front and center, so I was really excited to find those. And I celebrated by buying a Lightning. I actually have the same Lightning, but it has different wheels. It's the Fast and the Furious, same series, but older one. So this one has the different wheels. I like the one I have better than this new one I just bought, but I thought it'd be cool to pick it up anyway. I was with my brother looking at them. Then you can see this Mustang cookie cutter that my sister got for us, and we made cookies. It was really nice of her to do that. And both her sons have Mustangs now, red Mustangs, and you'll see them on the channel. So my wife asked me to go pick up her mother and bring her to the house. She's in an assisted living home now. And so I thought, okay, I'll take the Cobra. Perfect excuse to get the Cobra out and go for a nice drive. Driving around, we came across her stepson. We haven't seen him for a little while, and that's his V6 Camaro. A nice guy. So we got the cars together for a picture.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
Yep.
So got the Cobra home after I took her back, and that was nice. Now I saw this trick with these Hot Wheels cars. A lot of times they come with these new designs on them. You can see how I've eliminated the ones on this Dodge Demon. And you take a dry erase marker, and it helps take off the graphics. And it worked on this Challenger, but didn't really work on the Shelby. But, you know, it's hit or miss, I guess. But, you know, it depends on how the graphics are applied. Then I took the Silver GT, and it was nice. It was raining and stuff, so it was nice to take it out and not have the other cars get rained on. And recently, there was a new Suburban that went off of an overpass and crashed right next to a bike trail. And our family went for a walk, and you can see the back wheel's intact. This is what the back wheel looked like, but we went for a walk on that bike trail and saw where it went off and everything, and I looked for pieces, and I found a chunk of the wheel. And at first it took me a second to figure out what this piece could be, and then I saw the markings on it. I was like, oh, this is part of the wheel. So you can see the wheel on the front was completely destroyed. and you can see where that Suburban landed. There's a guardrail, and that's the bike trail. So it went over the bike trail and landed in the brush and on the lava rock. And so I found a front turn signal marker. I found the C for the GMC. That's what I was looking for, just anything left over. So that was interesting. After our walk, I found this V6 Mustang, and it had 01 to 04, more specifically 03 to 04 Bullitt wheels. You can tell by the paint on them, the texture, but those are, you know, new edge Mustang wheels on a S197. You can see the offset is so that they stick out farther than they would normally. Now, I did want to share some of these pictures of a competition orange Terminator Cobra that's in Florida, and it has over 200,000 miles on it. That's the second one I know of with that kind of mileage. This one's in very, very rough shape as far as the paint goes, but it's been maintained and has receipts for oil changes from what I understand. But this is very interesting to see, especially for a car that's loved so much by so many, and say it's the rarest and nicest color for the 04 Cobra. It's cool to see one that's, you know, been driven and enjoyed for so long and still running in good shape. And so the interior looks really nice on it too. It's just the outside, they say, was probably never washed or waxed or taken care of. But, you know, this is an example of a Cobra that was driven and just always out on the road. And it has what I believe are the satin wheels or the machined wheels, which there were only like 10 competition orange coupes that came with that configuration from what I understand. It's the only option you can have on the 04 Cobra, you know, besides other things like a spoiler delete and stuff like that. But it's pretty rare for what it is, if those were the original wheels, which I believe they are. And so the story is somebody had seen this car around, and they talked to the owner on and off, and the owner was a nice lady who ultimately decided to go ahead and sell it to him. And so that was cool to see. He got it, and now he's on the SVT Competition Orange Facebook group. So he's in the right place, and he's going to take good care of the car. A lot of people said that he should just clear coat it and have the patina the way it is. Other people say just repaint it and enjoy it, because you repaint the car and it'll be just as nice, you know, and it'll really make a difference. But some people are just debating on what should be done with the car. But put in the comments what you think. You know, personally, I think you should probably repaint it. I know it's cool to see it the way it is and enjoy it, but I think once you do some good walk around videos and take a bunch of pictures, at that point you might as well just repaint it and make it nice again. But you know, the way cars are, you know, you find the barn finds, and you find cars that are only original once, they say, and you know, some people really enjoy that about them. So ultimately it's up to the owner to decide what they want to do with this car. But I thought I'd just share it because it's pretty cool to see. It definitely makes me glad I have my pristine competition orange Cobra. Another cool picture that was shared with me was this one of a 70 Mach 1 next to all these brand new Mach 1s at the dealership when they were new. I really like that picture. So my brother and I went for a drive in my red Cobra, and we found a GT. It was sitting kind of abandoned. You can see the headlights are glazed over, has inboard lights on it, an aftermarket hood. So 05 to 08 GT, because it doesn't have the 45th badge on the side there. But, you know, Bullitt wheel car, had some spider webs on it, tinted tail lights, and, you know, had some stripes on the roof that looked like they were coming off. So kind of cool to see this GT, and it had a box in the front seat with a bunch of wires in it and stuff, like a wire harness. So who knows what problem the car is having, but looks like it's been sitting here for a little while. And it's a really nice place for it to be. This is where my brother and I grew up, on top of the old airport, so it's just kind of tucked away here. So kind of cool to see that. And there's a difference with the offset of the wheels. I was telling him about that other V6 I saw with the new edge Bullitt wheels on it and how the offset was different. So walking back to where we parked my Cobra, as we walked around and explored a little bit, it's just beautiful to see. I love this torch red Cobra. I mean, this is so fun. We really enjoyed going out and driving around the city and having the car and reminiscing about how much we wanted these cars when they were new, and how much we still love them, and they're our #1 choice, you know. And so just fun to take the Cobra out and enjoy it and just hang out together. that makes it all the more special when we get to enjoy our cars together and hang out. It's just something that we really, really enjoy, and we have a lot of fun doing this, and we don't always get to do it, so it's nice to do it when we can. And, you know, beautiful parking lot. We went over here to eat, so you see how far away we parked. We just randomly looked under the Cobra to see how things are going. It looks really clean under here since I detailed it a little while ago. It was always kind of clean. Played Monopoly with my boys, and I bought this really cool Chevelle 187 scale, and it's fun to play Monopoly with these cars, and I have a bunch of these 187 scale cars. Hot Wheels made a bunch of them at one point, so these are mostly Hot Wheels. The white Boss 302 there is another one that was recently purchased that I bought when I bought the Chevelle. They're from like model train set stuff, so kind of cool to see. Now sadly, there was a Red Fire Terminator up north that got crashed really bad in the rain, and I think somebody kind of ran him off the road or something, but still just really awful to see this picture. So shout out to that poor car, and you know, it's probably going to be parted out. It looked pretty bad. Took the yellow Mach 1, went to go with my wife to dinner, and it was fun to take it out on a date. Just love, you know, having it around. We took it to a few places. We went shopping, and, you know, everywhere I go, I just can't help but get out and take a video of it and, you know, share this on the YouTube channel just because I love driving these cars around and having fun with them. So everywhere we went, the car just stuck out so bright under the parking lot lights too. So I've driven the yellow Mach 1 a lot, so I thought it's time to go and trade it out for the blue Mach 1 and enjoy the blue one for a little while. I just have it a few blocks away in another garage, and so here it is next to my brother's red Mach 1, and so it's always nice to have somewhere to keep these cars. And so, you know, the blue Mach 1 didn't have a battery in it right now, so I just kind of pushed it out and you know, swapped batteries with it, and that's just kind of the procedure that I'm doing with it right now. So that's why the hood's popped here. I put the new battery in it, and then I drove the yellow Mach 1 into its place, you know, before I swapped batteries. So there's changing the battery out and then tucking the Mach 1s away, and now let's go enjoy the blue one for a little while. Pay attention to this 32 valve burble idle. Like I said before, I love the variety of these cars. You take one out, you enjoy the bright yellow or the red, then you have the blue. I just love having all the different ones. Walk out in this parking lot, there's a V6 Mustang. You know, at one point somebody paid more for that than I did for this blue Mach 1. And so it's really nice to see the blue Mach 1 here. I'm very proud of it. You know, I just enjoy it. V6 is a nice car for whoever owns it. I'm just happy I have what I have. So low fuel light came on, which is okay because I wanted to put fresh fuel in it and burn out the old fuel, so that worked out nicely. So it's time to do an oil change on the Silver GT. Oil looks good, a little dark now. I put about 5,000 or 6,000 miles on it with full synthetic oil. And this car is just doing great. It's at 85,000 miles now. You can see the Terminator Cobra yellow front end on it. But anyway, yeah, car's doing great. I bought it with 62,000 miles when it was wrecked, and now it has 85,000, and I'm just enjoying it. Looks clean in here. You know, no moisture buildup or condensation under there. You know, no pudding, as they call it. So I just love driving this all the time. My wife drives it too. We're getting a lot of use out of it for a car that was, you know, completely totaled and parted out.
All right. Oil filter, plastic cutting board, formable. Let it drain into the oil pan pickup so that we don't get oil all over the suspension and the rack and pinion steering and the K-member. I do like to pre-fill my oil filters before putting them on, and it helps prime them.
So the GT feels great driving around with a fresh oil change, 6.5 quarts of full synthetic 5W30. Yes, 530, not 520 like the oil cap suggests. That was just an emissions thing. And of course, I have to share my favorite meme I made years ago about oil changes. You can't feel the difference from an engine oil change. I can. No more guilt. I always think of that whenever I change the oil, because you can feel a difference. You just feel better about it. Hey, look, here's the spot again, still not filled in, you know. No big deal. Like, it's just kind of interesting. It's kind of a deep fall off there.
Oh, wrong Corvette.
I say that because that's the neighbor's C6, and this is my younger brother's new C7 Z06. And he was coming over, so I was waiting for him. I heard a Corvette pull up, but it wasn't his. But here it is. Beautiful car. Let's go for a ride.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, that feels good.
That is stupid fast.
Yeah, like pulls the blood out of your feet.
This is a beautiful Z06. It's the automatic 8-speed. It has the LT4 supercharged 6.2 liter. Says 650 for horsepower and torque. Very, very nice car. Beautiful. And he let me drive it, so that's fun.
Blah, blah, blah. Mustang GT.
I kind of said that under my breath because I didn't want to offend other people if they saw me, but I think most cars in the parking lot are usually pretty basic and nothing to be excited about. And then you have a Mustang GT, a new edge Mustang GT. I love it. So I found this 60s Mustang. We'll just leave it at that. 64 to 66. It was just parked on the side of the street, and I've seen it in the driveway in the house across the street there. So whoever bought it must have it around. And so notice the cat. Look at this cat here on the left. See his ears?
Kitty.
There he goes. So I was just getting ready to pull the Bullitt out from that other carport garage thing. So I came in here to get the battery out of the blue Mach One, playing musical batteries. And I was talking to my brother about that, how here in the winter time, there's no reason to have so many batteries that just die in the cold. And at this point, I don't mind just swapping them around when I want to take a different car out for a drive. It's no big deal. But anyway, going to get the battery out of the blue Mach One, and I'm going to show you a little bit of my procedure of getting the Bullitt out of here. I have it tucked away really tight, mirror to mirror, with the yellow GT here under the carport, and then the Sonic Blue parts cars next to it, which really shouldn't be there under the garage carport. It's just the way it's set up, and so I have them all stuffed in here pretty tight. I keep a clear plastic cover on the Bullitt and then a normal cover over that, so if it like gets dusty or rainy or drips or whatever, then it's protected. And so it keeps it pretty nice under here. And mostly I just want the car out of the sun. So even without a cover, that's a great thing. So it's fun to look under the hood of the Bullitt and see that supercharged built 2-valve engine with the ported Eaton on top. That's a Stegmeyer ported Eaton from an 03 Cobra. And I have some sill plates that go in the door, you know, that said Bullitt. See there? That's off a green Bullitt that was totaled, unfortunately. That belonged to a friend of mine, so I reused those and put them on the air intake. So this is my procedure to get the Bullitt out of here. Tell me what you think.
There you go. Now put the key. Here's the key. Put it in and turn it back towards you. Turn it back towards you. Good. And roll down the window here. Just push that. Yep, that one down. Other one. Other one. There you go. Now I can get in.
If the Dukes of Hazzard can do it, so can I. Since it has a new battery, what I like to do is turn the key, let the gauges sweep, give it a second, let the fuel pumps prime. There's the Bullitt looking beautiful. And like I said before, the variety. It's fun to have something a little different. You know, Mach 1s, Cobras, GTs, Bullitt. I went and put the registration sticker on it. It shows how much I don't drive the car because I haven't put this on. I went to the DMV months ago and got this. And so, you know, took it for a nice drive. Beautiful to see the car out here. You can see it's not perfect, but it is my Bullitt, and I love this car very much. If you know the story about this car, it's the one I raced the most. I built it up the most. I sold it. I got it back, and I love the car for what it is. A true blue Bullitt, one of 722, one of 54 in its configuration. So got to drive it around, went to a couple places, went to a gas station, got some ices and stuff. Just enjoyed the car. I've had this keychain since I was 16. I had it on my original Mustang, and I've always put it on my daily driver as long as I had the Bullitt at least, and then I stopped doing that with the Bullitt. And I actually posted that on my Instagram, and I was surprised to find out like 3 people said they still have that same keychain as well from back then. When I sold the Bullitt, I actually left this keychain in a box and kept it in my closet, and I never got it out again. And then when I bought the Bullitt back, I thought it was only fitting to get the keychain back out and put it back on the Bullitt's key rings, reunite it with it. Because when I daily drove the Bullitt, I had it on there every day, and I just didn't really have the heart to put it back on another one of my cars that I was daily driving for some reason. I don't know, it just is the way it worked out. And so, you know, when I had the idea of buying the Bullitt back, I kind of thought how cool it'd be to put that keychain back on the key ring and have the car back. So kind of an interesting story, but you can see it's a little worn and stuff. It used to have a leather piece around it, but I just kind of ripped that off and then put the key ring on it. So looks good. So here comes my friend and his Terminator. We're going to work on it a little bit.
We're not going to work on the car. We're just hanging out. See the dog.
Hold on, let me get my hand out of the way. Excuse me. Hey, stay here.
So it's supposed to go with this, and then it puts the handle where my thumb is. So now we take that
Somebody saw
out.
the video on this car,
Yeah.
and you said he got it on backwards.
Yeah, they said, so this is supposed to go down in here.
Oh,
So
God,
this
man.
goes down here like that, and then the handle goes down in here.
Well, you know what? Where's the MG? I can't
That,
say it. Where-
yeah, now the MGW is on the driver's side.
Oh, that makes sense. Here.
So now you'll be able to reach that better too.
So that drives a lot better now. Somebody had mentioned in the comments that that shifter was on backwards because they had seen when we adjusted the handle on it in one of my previous videos. So shout out to whoever that was. Thanks for the tip. That was on backwards, and so we got on there right. Look at that beautiful mineral gray in the sun. That looks so nice. This is a very fun car to drive around. I've driven it a lot, and we've enjoyed this one a lot. You know, convertible Terminator. Looks really good, and we're going to actually do some work with the wideband. The sensor kept failing, and so we had to replace it twice already, and so we'll get to that, and I'll show you what we did. It's fun to have the GTs out, have the Bullitt out in the driveway. We're going to take the Bullitt for a ride. Notice how my 04 has a 40th anniversary badge on it. It's not a 40th anniversary. It's just a GT from 04. But yeah, here's the Bullitt. Went for a nice drive and just enjoyed it out here. Did some more treasure hunting and had some fun with it. So my wife and I went on a date to the temple for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We love going there together. Helps our marriage. It helps our life. It's just a wonderful thing. And we just love worshiping there. So took the silver GT there. And then after we went to In-N-Out and went and got something to eat. Took the GT, of course. And it was a wonderful outing, a nice date. It's good to have some time together. And it's always fun to be in a different Mustang. I'll be a gentleman and open the door for her. You know, with kids, we're always trying to get them in the car and stuff. And, you know, it's hard to open the door for your wife when we're always trying to buckle in a bunch of kids, but I'll still do it when we go on dates. And so went to the store after, and beautiful GT. It's looking great out here. So my brother brought his Z06 over, and now it's nice to see it in the daylight. This is a 16,000 mile car, and it's a 2016 as well, so about 1,000 miles a year is all this car has seen, and it's all stock. And we're going to clean it up because you can see it's a little dirty. He bought it from the original owner, and you know, it's a very, very nice car, so good for him. Man, the Bullitt is looking so good. I love driving up and seeing it there. So my brother brought the Corvette over to clean up, and I showed him how I like to do it with microfiber towels and stuff, and we had a good time cleaning it up and just enjoying it. It's a beautiful car. You know, this is a very nice car, very expensive car, and my other brother has got to drive a red one around a little bit, and so it's fun to see. Here's the GT hiding under here. Since the Bullitt's moved, I can kind of look the GT over and check it out. You know, everything's looking good in here. I have the Mach One seats out of my friend's Mach One. The back seats are actually out of my silver GT because I wanted to do all leather in this car, and I have all cloth in the silver GT. The cloth seats came out of the Sonic Blue car, and the back seat, that's cloth, came out of a V6 in a wrecking yard. So that's just the way it worked out when I put these cars back together. Got some Mother's Mag and aluminum polish to do the exhaust tips on my brother's Z06 when he comes over. And so I went ahead and did the Bullets, mostly the inner rim there, just to clean them up. They get a lot of carbon buildup on them. Same with the Terminator Cobra.
C7 autopsy.
Yeah, it's hard to see in there, but there's junk.
So we got his exhaust tips all cleaned up nice. You saw we pulled a bunch of leaves out of the front air dam, took off the sticker from the original owner, and then washed the car.
Well, and that's what we expect with a car this age. Those calipers always rust over slightly.
Enjoyed driving the GT some more, and then I had a friend on Instagram who really likes this tire sticker that goes in the glove box, and he asked me about them, and none of my Mach 1s or Cobras have them on them, so I think that's an interesting thing. If you have a Mach 1 or a Terminator, you should check and see if yours had one. I don't believe the Mach 1s and the Terminators came with one, just because of the issue of having to put their details on that sticker and change the tire size for the Cobras and stuff. Anyway, remember that red BMW? So he was down at the park and he was making a bunch of noise, and my brother was like, hey, get your Cobra out. And so you'll see here two perspectives. There's my brother who's watching, and he sees me come by in the Cobra, and I made a little bit of noise, and you'll see how quickly this guy chased me down because he wanted a piece of the Cobra. He obviously didn't know what he was getting himself into. This is what you call biting off more than you can chew. But yeah, watch how bad he chases me down.
Getting baited.
Daddy? Dad?
Oh, dude, he's about to smash it.
Claire, wait for me. So yeah, you're gonna do that.
So I'm gonna have to drop my phone down for this, but you'll hear it.
Smoke, dude.
So I beat on him twice, and that was fun. And then I went and parked the Cobra back in the spot where he was at the park making all that noise, and took a nice walk around video of my Cobra. And my brother came over and talked about it, and we laughed and had a good time and stuff. And I talked to the kid for a minute, and he says his makes 350 horse. And I told him that I was in the yellow Mach One the other night when I put the hurting on him too. And he was like, "Oh, how much does that one make?" And I said 320, you know. So he's like, "Oh," because you know, he's claiming his makes a lot more power, but whatever. But beautiful red 10th anniversary Cobra. Had some fun with it, you know, just jumped in it and went and chased him down and had some fun. So pretty cool. So my brother was just filming me take videos of my car too, because that's what those guys were doing with their BMW in this exact same spot before I came by. So anyway, so I went and worked on my friend's mineral gray Terminator Cobra. His wideband kept having issues, and so we cut the harness and rewired it where it was burned up a little bit.
Yep.
We thought we had found the issue where it had a little bit of a burn mark on the harness, so we cut and respliced it. But then later, as I was resplicing it, I noticed this little white wire down here had pulled right out, and it had already been repaired once down below, and those were all loose. So once we got that back together, it went fine. So basically the story behind that wideband sensor issue was he bought that gauge and sensor used, and we installed it. He had someone else actually install it in the car, And then it started acting up where it was pegging lean, where it just had the dashes on it no matter what he'd do, driving all around, and it would just peg lean. And so he ordered a new sensor last year, and I installed it for him, and we plugged it all in, and I zip tied it all up out of the way, make sure nothing would get burned or anything, and it was fine for a little while. So what must have happened is we must have toggled the harness just enough where that bad connection that we didn't know about was kind of pushed around, and then it worked for a little bit. And so then all of a sudden, months later, it starts getting stuck right at 14.7, I think. And it wouldn't even move. You'd rev up the engine, you'd start it, you'd do a whole bunch of things, shut the car off, and it would just stay right at 14.7. So he's like, there's something wrong with this. So he ordered another sensor, and as the sensor was being shipped to his house, he found a little burned up spot on the harness from the guy who installed it, because it was a part of the harness we didn't touch that went to the gauges or something. And so he said, I think I found the smoking gun. So we said, okay, well, let's repair that section of the harness. So he cut it, and we heat shrinked and soldered the whole thing, all 6 wires, got it all nice, wrapped it up and everything. And he returned the sensor, or canceled the order on the sensor. And then we got all that done, and then it was doing the same thing. And so we're like, well, there's got to be something else here. So he ordered the sensor again to have it come to his house. And I went to his house again to meet up so we can install the new sensor and see if that fixed it. We installed the sensor. It was still doing the same thing. And so he thought, well, maybe it's the part that we soldered and wrapped and heat shrinked. Maybe we did it wrong, like maybe we didn't get the connections right, because we matched the colors and did everything right. But it's like, maybe that just didn't go as well as we hoped. Maybe we should redo that section. So we said, okay. So when we cut that section out, and then when I started to strip the wires, that's when that white wire just pulled right out. And when I cut the loom back, I figured out that that harness had already had 3 repairs that were heat shrinked, and the white wire was just loose in there, and it came right out. So we repaired that section of the harness, got it all wrapped up, put back together, and now it works fine. So then my brother asked me to come look at his white GT. It was making a little bit of noise in the rear end, so we drove it on jack stands very carefully. And so I ended up actually running next to the car while he drove it slowly, and I was listening for the noise, and I was recording with his phone as I was running. So he'd drive, and I was the one running next to the car. And on his camera, when I'm recording and running, he'll find out later that as I'm running and recording, I was singing, I'm a fool to do your dirty work, oh yeah. I don't want to do your dirty work no more, because I was the one running. There's a nice white Trans Am behind me, like Smokey and the Bandit. Nice looking car. He turned off though. Took the blue Mach One for a nice drive. It was a beautiful day. So this part of town's special to me. I grew up in this area. Oh, look how close I got the chin spoiler. I'm doing all right. And plus the sidewalk is a lot higher over here than it is down there, so it wouldn't hit anyway. But anyway, I grew up over here, and you can see the temple over there in the background. And I would ride the school bus right on that road. And then over here where all There's the temple, beautiful place. Where all the RVs are, I used to wash and wax RVs there all the time. That's how I paid for my orange Cobra. And every time I was there, I could see this Dairy Queen, and I could smell the hamburgers being cooked. And, you know, I had quite an appetite from working so hard. And so now I decided to go ahead and treat myself to a nice lunch here, and I can see the beautiful temple and the RV resort and the beautiful blue Mach One. Man, it just looked great. So it's nice to be on this side of the fence and being able to enjoy, because when I was over there working, it's like all I saw was people enjoying and having fun over here. So we found a red Mach One when my brother and I were in town.
It's got a Cobra snake, I think, in the... Does it have a Cobra snake as the center cap?
It's
now
like
you
just
can see it almost at that.
Got a hat on, too.
There, now the white car's moving, you can see it.
Big 4.6 battery.
So the owner of that red Mach One was on Instagram, and my friends tagged him, so I was able to find out who it was. So that's pretty cool. And by the way, this Terminator Cobra I made a video about at Mecum that sold for a good price. Somebody mentioned that it actually had a rebuilt title, so that's a little bit of interesting information on that. This was a Kenny Brown Terminator, and the guy who told me this in the comments said he had scanned the VIN number when he was at the auction, and it brought up the Carfax and said it had a total loss on the record. Now, with my silver 01 GT I had, it had a total loss, but it still had a clear title. So I'm not sure if that's what he meant to say, is just the total loss situation where it's been paid off by insurance. And that was also the case with a competition orange 04 Terminator that went to Kenny Brown. I show that in the history of my competition orange Terminator, and it had Kenny Brown stickers and stuff all over it, but it was a Ford buyback car for having to be repainted, although it probably still carries a clear title. So just something interesting that you know, a car like this sold for a really good price with that. So we're going to get the Bullitt out. Here's a little cold start. We're going to get the rug out from under it. So the reason we need to get that rug out is because my nephew's 98 GT has a screaming throwout bearing, and we're gonna pull the transmission off of it.
Yeah. On the comfort of our living room.
So my friend Koa, who lives up north, he bought my sister's Red Fire 03 GT. He now has this white 04 Mach 1, beautiful car, low mileage. And he always keeps me up to date with what Mustangs he sees around. And so he found this competition orange Mach 1 up there. You see the bumpers are fading, and it's got louvers on it, and a lot of peeling on the back bumper. Really awesome car to see. He's seen it a little while ago and sent me a picture, and now here's some updated pictures of it. So always cool. You can see his white Mach 1 behind it there. So always cool to see some of these pictures he sends me. And this Mach 1 has an aftermarket extra Mach 1 stripe package next to the center stripe there. He also found a competition orange Terminator Cobra convertible, one of 72. And I've actually done a story about this car. It has a rebuilt title, and it was wrecked, and the guy was going to part it out, but he decided to save it. So that's a really cool story. I did that story, and so this is the thumbnail of the video I did about that car. Look how nice it is. Beautiful car. So kind of fun to see. And he also saw this autumn orange 1997 Mustang GT, which I believe I saw for sale with super high mileage up in northern Utah, but really cool car to see on the road. So that's the update for now. We're got a lot of Mustang projects going on, always something here. I love the variety of these cars. I love driving them around and having fun and enjoying them. And so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.